Hey everyone and welcome. Today we are diving into a really profound explainer based on Mustafa Islamoğlu's deep analysis of the divine name Ar-Rahman, the ultimate source of divine mercy. And just a quick note before we jump in, we're actually going to be producing a special version of this explainer in Uyghur for our Uyghur-speaking audience, which is really exciting. But for now, let's get right into it, because the secrets hidden behind this single name are absolutely mind-blowing. Let's start with a number that might surprise you, 170. If you count every single time Bismillah is recited in the Quran, the name Ar-Rahman appears exactly 170 times. Now, this isn't just some random statistic, right? It's literally a powerful, constant reminder of just how closely divine mercy is watching over us in every single thing we do, with every breath we take. I mean, 170 times. Just try to wrap your head around that rhythm in your daily life.
But here is where it gets really interesting. Out of all those mentions, the absolute peak usage of this name, 27 times to be exact, happened specifically during the 6th year of prophethood. Now, you might be wondering, why the 6th year? What's so special about that specific time?
Well, let's take a step back and look at what was actually happening during that 6th year. For the early Muslims in Mecca, this was quite literally the peak of persecution, torture, boycotts, and unimaginable suffering. And this brings up a massive paradox, doesn't it? Why in the world would the most frequent mentions of infinite divine mercy coincide exactly with the absolute most brutal, oppressive year for those early believers? How do extreme suffering and ultimate mercy even exist in the same space?
The answer to that paradox is actually hidden in this quote. Allah educates you through the hands of the enemy. Being disciplined is not a bad thing. The source material points out that these incredibly severe trials weren't a punishment. They were actually a profound manifestation of mercy. Think of it like a really tough school. The enemy's oppression was basically the tool used to forge and prepare these believers so they could eventually become teachers to the entire world. Going through that discipline, while incredibly painful, wasn't a bad thing at all. It's like carving wood. You have to cut and chip away at it to make something beautiful.
Okay, so to really grasp this, we have to break down the theoretical difference between two core names, Rahman and Rahim. Rahman relates strictly to the divine essence. It's the foundational, universal mercy given to all of creation, without any conditions. It shines on everyone, like the sun. Rahim, on the other hand, relates to divine action. It's a targeted, specific mercy and reward that is directed specifically toward believers. So Rahman is the universal foundation, while Rahim is the targeted action. And this perfectly sets up the difference between Rahmet and Merhamet. They sound similar, but they aren't the same. Rahmet is pure divine mercy. It originates entirely from Allah. Merhamet, though, is human mercy. We only have the capacity to show a merhamet because we receive and learn it from the most merciful. Basically, any mercy you or I can show is literally just a tiny little branch growing off of his infinite tree. Let's look at how this actually plays out in the text. The chapter where Ar-Rahman is used the absolute most, 16 times, is Surah Maryam. Now, why this specific chapter? Because Surah Maryam is absolutely packed with stories of intense, agonizing trials, and it highlights a really beautiful truth. The heavier the trial and the greater the suffering, the stronger the need for the mercy of Ar-Rahman.
Just take a look at this timeline and you'll see exactly what I mean. Think about Prophet Ibrahim, literally thrown into a fire, or Prophet Zakaria and Yahya, facing brutal martyrdom. Think of Maryam herself, dealing with unimaginable slander and unable to even speak to defend herself. And Prophet Musa, placed into a basket on a river as a baby just to survive, only to be raised in the palace of his biggest enemy. Every single one of them was at their absolute most vulnerable, agonizing breaking point, and right in those moments, they required the all-encompassing mercy of Ar-Rahman.
We see this exact same pattern in the life of Prophet Muhammad too. His trials were incredibly heavy. He never had the chance to say the word father. He lost his mother at a very young age. Then he lost his grandfather, then his protective uncle, and then his beloved wife Khadija. By removing these earthly supports one by one, the source explains that Allah was essentially ensuring the Prophet didn't rely on anyone in this world, leaning entirely and completely on Ar-Rahman.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and bring this into our daily lives. Think about every time we say Bismillah. It's so common, but there are actually 5 profound secrets or declarations hidden in that one phrase. First, you're aware that Allah is actively intervening in your life. Second, you're choosing to use the intellect and will that He granted you. Third, you are actively relying on His support.
Fourth, you're acknowledging that absolutely no realm exists independent of him. And fifth, it's a constant prayer asking for his continued help. You're basically declaring all 5 of those things every single time you say it.
Now, the Meccan polytheists, they literally hated the name Ar-Rahman. Hearing it made them furious. And it wasn't because they didn't know the name. It was because accepting Ar-Rahman meant accepting a God who constantly intervenes in their daily lives. They didn't want that. They wanted to create a secular space, completely devoid of his intervention, where they could just do whatever they wanted. They were fine with a distant creator, but a God who actively watches over them with constant mercy? No way. That was a deal breaker.
Which brings us to a really provocative, almost mind-bending thought from the explainer. Hell is actually a mercy. Now wait a minute, right? If Rahman's mercy encompasses literally everything in existence, how on earth can a place of punishment like hell possibly exist? How do those two concepts even coexist?
Well, it breaks down into 4 main points. First, hell fulfills the demand for divine justice. Treating the oppressor and the oppressed exactly the same wouldn't be mercy, it would be a tragedy. Second, the concept of it serves as a vital warning in this world to stop us from harming ourselves and others. Third, and this is a really powerful analogy, it acts like an intensive care unit for unhealed souls. Just like a painful medical procedure is necessary to cure a disease, it cleanses the soul. And finally, it guarantees existence. Even being in hell means you exist, which is fundamentally better than absolute, terrifying nothingness.
Let's turn our focus inward for a second, to our own minds and hearts. There's a huge contrast between the human mind, or akil, and our conscience, our vigdan. The mind is always calculating. It's conditional. It's always looking for a return on investment, right? Like, if I do this, what do I get? But the conscience? The conscience doesn't calculate. It's unconditional. It's a pre-installed, natural source of giving and honoring that doesn't care who is on the receiving end.
There's this beautiful quote from the source that hits the nail on the head. Conscience is Beit Allah, meaning the house of Allah. Our human conscience is literally the direct reflection of Rahman within us. When a person lets that inner light shine, their mercy is unconditional. It shines on everyone, the good and the bad, exactly like the sun shining down, without keeping score.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a powerful question to reflect on. We've explored the depths of this infinite mercy, the trials that forge us, and the light of conscience. So, what about you? In your life, whose world is being illuminated by the mercy of Ar-Rahman shining through you? Can people feel that divine mercy just from being around you? Take that thought with you today. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.